And so the 4 questions I would encourage you to ask the existing people who are helping build community is ask, what's right? And what you're trying to do is find out what's going right with small groups, with Sunday school, based on, the end in mind, the systems, and the strategy. You want to find out, what's right. Next thing you want to do is you want to find out what's wrong. Now, in this section, what you're looking for is, and listening for, is what needs to be changed. Because when they're saying something's wrong, what they're talking about is something isn't working, so it needs to be changed. The third question you want to talk about is what's missing. And that's a clarifying question because it may be there, it may not be there, it may be there and they don't know about it, or they may think it's there and you don't know about it. But what they're looking for in this and what you're listening for is clarity. What needs to be clarified so that everybody can know what's missing if it is missing. Fourth part of the question is what's confused. And that means something is completely missing. It doesn't need to be clarified, it needs to be added. They may bring something up to you so that you can understand it. So that's another grouping of people. Now, there are some other people that have just been around the church forever. They come in with the mindset, I was here before you, and I'll be here after you. And, sometimes that could be true. But what you want to do with them, whatever change management or whatever change you're working into your small group ministry, is you want to honor the past. Because them being there gave you an opportunity to be ministering at your church. So you want to honor the past, but you want to do it in such a way that will progressively help you move to the future. So here's what I would do. When I came on staff at Saddleback, we brought into a new leader training program. And there had been about over 250 groups that had been brought onto a different system of training. Good training, but just wasn't clarifying our end in mind. So what we did is we grandfathered all of those existing groups. We told them, hey, you don't need to go to the leader training. You don't need to fill out anything different. You don't need to do anything new. But then what we did is we asked them to teach the training because they're our most veteran people. Now, what you're going to find out is the person that learns the most is the teacher, not the student, when a training is happening. And so in a way, they were training themselves in our paradigm and our new leader training. Just remember, they've been here for a long time. So honor them and grandfather them in. Now, the other thing as you're managing change, I want you to see as a graphic right there, and it's called the innovation diffusion curve. Now, in this innovation diffusion curve, you're going to see a typical bell curve, but you're also going to see it's broken up into a number of different things. And predominantly, it's broken up into early adopter, mid adopters, and late adopters. And all I'm trying to show you from that graphic, and again, you might want to refresh yourself in the Align course on this graphic, but what I'm trying to help you understand is that everybody has a different mode of change management and change process that happens with them. And you got to understand that basically what happens is that when you introduce anything new, 16% of people are going to adopt with you immediately. There's going to be about 34% that are called early late adopters. They're for you, but they're a little late getting on the train. Then there's 34% that are late adopters, or I should say mid to late adopters, and they give you a little resistance. And then there's what we call laggards, or that's a little bit of a harsh term, but they are very late adopters, and that's about 16% of the people. I show you this graphic so you'll help understand two things. One is that not everybody gets on board right away. In the most perfect environment, change is just going to come slow for people. And so just understand that aspect. But what I really want you to understand and focus on is inside the early adopters, their business has shown us that there's 2.5% that are your innovators. They're the ones that will help dictate how quick people go through that innovation diffusion curve, because they're the ones that have the highest relational capital, they have the highest leadership engine inside of them, and they have the most influence. That 2.5% are going to be key as you start this foundational process and you help your church think church-wide. Now, as I close this session, I want you to look at some of these questions that we have for you, and I want you to start to process, what steps do I need to take?